I've just finished my yoga practice and I just really wanted to share something that I've been thinking about doing for a while. And it's not going to be perfect because I'm lying on the floor and it's unscripted, but I just feel so different after my yoga that I just feel really like now is the time to share this. So it doesn't solve all of life's problems, but just like by moving my body in a conscious way, I've shifted so much tension and stuff that I was holding on to. And by breathing consciously, I've just I just feel so different afterwards. I can't even put it into words. And yesterday I didn't do a full practice just for lots of reasons. And I missed it. It's not always possible. And and it's just really brought home to me how different I feel when I practice. And so many people say that they want to start yoga and they don't. And I'm just going to address a few things that I think are reasons why I've heard people say that they don't start. And probably the number one reason that people have said to me over the years is I'm not flexible enough to do yoga. And this is such a commonly held misconception that you have to be flexible to do yoga. Because for one, the movement is only a small part of yoga. Two, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you're flexible or not. The only person, literally the only person that cares whether you're flexible or not is you. And so you're the only person holding yourself back by thinking you're not flexible. I hear this saying all the time. It's like saying you're too dirty to take a shower or something. You get clean by taking a shower. You become more flexible by practicing yoga. So by saying you're not flexible enough to do yoga, it's like saying what's it? I can't even work it out now. You're too dirty to take a shower? I don't even know. Something like that. Okay, so flexibility, you can cross that one off your list. I guess I don't have a yoga mat. You don't need a yoga mat. If you have carpet, you can just practice on the carpet. If you have a hard floor, you can put a blanket or a towel down. In the summer, maybe even go outside on grass. You do not need a fancy yoga mat. And there are so many people who practice yoga who've probably got more than one mat. So if you ever know anybody who practices yoga, ask them if they've got an old mat or a spare mat that you can borrow while you're working out if you like it. And then my first mat I bought from TK Maxx and it was super cheap. And it's still going actually. Some of the more expensive ones I bought just lose their grip really quickly. So you don't need to fork out loads of money. It's not a competition to see who's got the best yoga mat, and you don't even need a yoga mat to start with. So was that number 2? Number 3, I can't afford it. And that might be monetary-wise or time-wise. So monetary-wise, again, that's not an excuse. I started, and I'll put a link down below, I started on YouTube, and there are so many free videos on YouTube. So many, and sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, there's too much choice. I definitely found that. And if you really want to go to a class, check out your local leisure centre, because often they're a lot cheaper than yoga studios. And this is just me speaking personally. I found it less intimidating to go to the leisure centre than to go to a fancy yoga studio. And if you can't afford it time-wise, again, that's a limitation that you're putting on yourself. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be half an hour. There are videos on YouTube, yoga practices that are 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't have to practice for very long. And you can choose one that's targeted to if there's anything specific, if you've got back pain or you want to improve a certain area of your body in terms of flexibility or whatever, then you can set out a thing that you can choose, narrow it down. So you can't afford it time-wise, you can't afford it money-wise. Free, you can do 5 minutes. You can do a minute, even just getting on. So I'm going around in tangents, but the biggest barrier I ever found was actually starting with anything in life. And once you start, it's like that advert years ago, once you pop, you just can't stop. And it's a bit like that, not you can't stop, but the hardest part is popping. And once you pop, then you can actually get going. So if you put a mat or a towel or a rug or whatever out that you're going to practice yoga on, just get on it, just stand on it, and then you've started. And then maybe just breathe in, inhale, and bend down, and exhale as you bend down. And maybe that's your start of yoga. Maybe that's all you do to begin with. And that's okay. Because starting anything new, it's about making it accessible, about making it realistic. And we create all these barriers in our own minds. I used to work with somebody who used to refer patients to me that had back pain that weren't going to have surgery. And I've taught people that have got multiple injuries in all sorts of areas of their body. And there's always something that you can do. And then like in terms of developing your own practice at home, if that's something that you're keen to do, like that's how I've always practiced. And I started off again on YouTube, and I used to use Yoga with Adrienne. And she has got like billions of videos, I think, on YouTube. But there's some like 30-day programs, or like you can pick a specific area or specific length. And so I started off by doing those. And then after a while, I was on Instagram a lot. And I'd be like, oh, I want to try this pose or that pose. So I used to write down things that I wanted to try and like add them into my practice. So I do a little bit of a video, and then I do a few little things that I wanted to have a go at when my body was a bit warmer. And then time-wise, especially if you're not like saying I have to do an hour or whatever, and everybody's different, I'm just sharing what worked for me. It worked for me to do it before work, because I used to have to leave for work like crazy early in the morning. And I knew when I got home that there was no part of me that would want to do it. So I used to practice before work. And some days, I'm not going to lie, some days it was literally 5 minutes. But in terms of building a habit, it was really important for me that I'd like ticked that box. And now I know, like, if I miss a day, it's not the end of the world. I normally just do a bit of stretching around and about, like, throughout the day if I'm not practicing, and I'll do some breathing. But then, when I first started, I had to commit to that, getting on my mat every day. So even if it was like 5 minutes before work, I'd literally like jump on my mat, do a few sun salutations, and then it was done. And then the days that I managed a bit longer before work, I'd feel like so much better myself, because I'd started the day doing something just for me. And like, if you've got like a family and your life's really busy, then you might not have space to do any of these things. But if there's like space in your bedroom, so you can just like roll out of bed, get on your mat and do a few stretches before you have to face anyone else in the house. I mean, I don't know if there's people on here that have like had obstacles that they need to overcome in order to find time, space in their life, and like physically and mentally and like location wise and time wise. I'm super interested to hear like what hurdles you've had in terms of like developing a new practice like this, and what you've done to overcome it. And then maybe if like other people have got like ideas, we can do a bit of a brainstorm and get around these barriers and get you on your mat. Other thing, there's so many different styles of yoga now, and it's a bit like, where do you start when you go to a class? Personally, I don't think it matters, unless it says like this class is not suitable for beginners, then like just try anything. And some people, I've heard them like be like really critical of different styles of yoga. So now there's like HIIT yoga and all sorts of different things. And there are some people that kind of say like HIIT yoga isn't really yoga and like blah, blah, blah. But I started with power yoga. That was my introduction. And I started with power yoga because I was so in my yang energy, like my masculine energy. I was like, I want to be good. I want to be strong. I want to be able to do everything. And if it had been just breath work, I would never have started, because it just didn't suit where my head was at that point in time, I guess. And now, like I don't really teach power yoga. I mean, some of my practices are strong and some of them are soft. And I'm very conscious of what I'm doing, but I don't teach like power yoga anymore. I teach a vinyasa flow, but it's very adapted to who's in front of me and how I feel on the day and like the temperature and the weather and all sorts of things. But like if someone goes to a HIIT yoga class and does HIIT yoga and they get a bit of experience of breath work and they feel good, I think that that's amazing. Like whatever brings somebody to their mat. Because we don't all start off in this Zen place where we want to do like hours of like meditation and hours of yoga. So like different styles of yoga work differently for different people and at different times in their life, in different phases that they go through. Like you might love something 1 minute and then the next minute it's not for you, and you change, and that's okay. And that's one of the beauties actually of yoga. God, I've been going on for ages. That it's my favorite topic. That you can adapt your practice to fit how you feel on each day and where you're at in your life, and if you have any injuries or whatever. Like there's always something that you can do, and that might just be sitting or lying and meditating or breathing, but that's still yoga. There's a lot of activities, like in the past I used to run, and if I got injured then I couldn't run, and I was really annoyed because that was my headspace. So this is something that you can do whatever, and I think that's incredible. So whatever brings someone to their mat, for me, is perfect. Anyway, I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts, if anyone listened to this. So thank you so much for listening, if you did. I'm Flo. Have a wonderful day.